Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into something super important. How to see those invisible forces that can either turbocharge a company or, well, sink it. We're talking about external analysis, a skill every strategic thinker needs. And it all starts with a really simple question about a fish in a pond. So let's get right to it. So, just imagine this for a second. Your company is a fish. It's swimming around in a pond, which is basically its external environment. Now, that pond is full of hidden currents, right? Some of those currents can help you swim faster and farther, but others can pull you right under. Our whole goal here is to learn how to see and map out every single one of those currents.
And here's the absolute key to all of this. You can't stop the pond from shrinking in a drought. You can't prevent a brand new, much bigger fish from suddenly showing up. The point of this whole exercise isn't control, it's awareness. It's all about understanding the world around you so you can adapt, anticipate, and just plain thrive no matter what the conditions are.
So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, we're going to take a journey. We'll start with the widest possible view, kind of like checking the major weather patterns for the entire region. Then, step by step, we're going to zoom in, closer and closer, until we're analyzing the specific conditions right there in our own pond, seeing exactly what's happening just beneath the surface. Okay, first up, the macro environment. This is the really big picture stuff, the forces that affect pretty much everyone. And to get our heads around it, we use a fantastic framework called PESTLE. Think of this as our long-range weather forecast for the whole region, not just for our one little pond. PESTLE is an acronym, and each letter stands for a huge force that's shaping our world. You've got political forces, like new trade policies, economic shifts, like inflation or interest rates, social trends, like people suddenly getting really into health and wellness. Then there's technological breakthroughs, big environmental issues, and of course, ever-changing legal regulations. Each one is a massive current pushing on every single industry out there. You know what PESTLE is really good at is helping you spot those huge, slow-moving tides. These are the kinds of trends that might not impact you tomorrow, but they could totally reshape your entire industry 5 or 10 years from now. And ignoring them, that's kind of like building your dream house on the beach without ever checking the tide charts. Not a great idea. All right, we've checked the regional weather. Now it's time to zoom in and analyze the pond itself. And for this, we're going to pull out one of the most famous tools in the history of business strategy, Porter's 5 Forces. This framework is our diagnostic kit for figuring out just how competitive and ultimately how profitable any given industry really is. So these are the 5 pressures that are constantly squeezing profits in any industry. Think about it. How easy is it for new players to jump in? How much power do your customers have to demand lower prices? On the flip side, how much power do your suppliers have to charge you more? Are there other different ways for customers to solve the same problem? Substitutes? And last but not least, how intense is the fight among all the other fish already in the pond? And this quote just nails it. While all 5 of those forces are super important, it's usually that direct, head-to-head fight for customers, the rivalry, that puts the most intense pressure on a business. That's the daily battlefield. Just look at how one single force, like the power of your buyers, can change the entire game. I mean, when your customers have a ton of different options and can switch from you to a competitor in a heartbeat, their power is super high. They can demand lower prices and really squeeze your profits. But what if they have very few choices, or your product is completely unique? Well, then their power is low, and that creates a massive opportunity for you. So let's recap. We've looked at the big picture trends with PESTLE. We've examined the industry pressures with Porter's 5 Forces. But right now, all we have are a bunch of lists. So the big question is, how do we turn all this analysis into something clear, something actionable? This is where our final tool comes in, the EFE Matrix. That stands for External Factor Evaluation. And the process is actually really simple and powerful. Step 1, you list out the biggest opportunities and threats you found earlier. Step 2, you give each one a weight based on how important it is to your industry. The only rule is all the weights have to add up to 1.0. Step 3, you rate your own company on a scale from 1 to 4 on how well you're responding to that factor. Finally, step 4, you just multiply the weight by the rating to get a final score for each factor. Let's make this real with a quick example. So a growing health trend is a huge opportunity, right? Let's give it a heavy weight, say 0.15. If your company is crushing it with new healthy products, you get a top rating of 4. Your weighted score there is 0.60. Awesome. But intense rivalry is a major threat, so let's also weight that at 0.15. If you're getting hammered by competitors, your response is poor, a rating of 1. That score is just 0.15. You do this for all your key factors, and then you just add up all the final scores.
And when you add all those weighted scores together, you get one final single number. And I'm telling you, in the world of external analysis, this number right here, well, this is the magic number.
See, a final score of 2.5 is basically the industry average. If your company scores above 2.5, that's great. It means your strategies are working, you're taking advantage of opportunities and defending against threats. But if you're below 2.5, that's a huge warning sign. It's a clear signal that your company is really vulnerable to the currents in its pond. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've journeyed from a broad forecast to a specific diagnosis of our industry, all the way to a final performance score. Now we can really see how all these pieces fit together to create a powerful strategic picture.
It's a pretty cool journey when you think about it. We started with Pestle to understand the long-term weather. Then, we zoomed right in with Porter's 5 forces to analyze the health of our specific pond. And finally, we used the EFE Matrix to get a final score on how well our little fish is actually swimming in those conditions. It's a perfect flow from the 30,000-foot view down to the ground level.
But please, always remember why we're doing any of this. These tools are not for writing some boring report that's just going to sit on a shelf. No way. They are for getting the clarity you need to make smarter decisions, to build a strategy that doesn't just help you survive the currents, but helps you actually use them to build an advantage that lasts. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Whether you're thinking about your job, your team, or your entire company, take a minute and just look outside. What are the currents shaping your world? Because understanding your pond, that is always the first step to becoming the biggest fish in it.